Are you tired of toxic friendships in your life? Are you trying to figure out a way to get rid of a toxic trick? Well, listen to the latest episode by Over the BS, where we try to get rid of these toxic ass friendships. Am I right, Sadé?
Yes, we are completely over it. We need to get out of these terrible people in our lives who are only here for blood. Blood suckers, life ruiners, okay? So you need a dose of Over the BS.
I was trying to be your background noise. Cut it. No, I am so happy we're finally doing this show because I feel like because of quarantine, a lot of people are actually getting rid of those toxic people in their lives, or just people in their lives. So they're like, you know what? You're not really my friend. Like, why? Like, what are we doing?
Honestly, yeah, because if you think about it, now we're in this time where we're just all at home thinking, and I don't know if this happened to you, but random people that you haven't talked to in forever, estranged, are suddenly trying to come back into your life. And I don't know if they think the world is ending, so they're ready to make amends. But honey, this is not it. If you are toxic, just stay out. Like, we're not talking for a reason. So I feel like there's a lot of estranged people that are either they're doing it for their own selfish needs to be like, oh, let me patch this up in case the world explodes tomorrow and I can feel better. Or, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're just bored and they want someone to talk to because, you know, everyone's trying to reach out to their friends also for that.
Well, what I realize is that if someone's toxic in your life, they're probably toxic in other people's lives. And listen, there was this one instance when I was in college where this girl was like, you know, I don't have any friends, yada, yada, yada. And then we became friends. And then I realized why she didn't have friends, if that makes sense. And so sometimes
it's a pattern.
It's a pattern. So sometimes you can kind of know if someone is toxic based on their relationships. People in their maybe a business partnership. I've had, I can give you.
Let's back it up real quick. What characteristics and what personality traits do you think makes someone toxic?
Okay, for one, I think the biggest toxic thing is that they're manipulative. When I first started working with a company in LA, I worked with another host who would carry things over my head. So if I didn't do things the way that she wanted, or if I just disagreed or wanted to give her my opinion, if it didn't just go the way that she wanted, she made it, she never said it, but she made me feel, and it was intentional that if I did not do something, or if I would not be able to work with them. Like if I just messed up one little bit, and I hated it. It just felt like I could not be myself. I couldn't make decisions. I couldn't give input. And that was toxic. And then like, it took like, we both ended up leaving the company. And then we kind of like, we were cool, but like, I was trying to keep her at a distance. And then we talked about maybe doing a project together. And I was already weary. Like, I don't know if I want to deal with this. We tried to do something back in the day and it didn't work. Back in the day, it was like 6 months before. And girl, it was still bad. And she was just trying to take things over. And I'm like, no, listen, this is a business relationship. Like, you're not my boss anymore. It's 50-50. And she was not willing to. And so you just have to know when people are just not right for you.
Yeah. And I think in the friend sphere of manipulation, I've noticed these kinds of people, they try to make everything seem like this is for your best intentions. I'm doing this for you. Have you ever noticed that? I had a roommate for 2 years that was so manipulative. And I noticed, like, she was so nice, and everyone would always be like, oh, this girl's so nice, until suddenly one of us spoke up and was like, I don't like who she really is, and someone else was like, I don't like her either. I don't like her either. I don't like her either. Then she was completely removed from the friend group because everyone started admitting, like, these were things that were happening with them, and it was always her trying to convince you otherwise, and that this is for your best interest. And she'd do it because she was one of those social climbers.
Yep.
Clearly, like, oh, what can I get from you? Who do you know? And when I think back to some of the things she would say to me, it was kind of like, ew. Like, honestly, so I went to my undergrad. I went to UCLA, not very many Black people, period. And she wasn't Black. And she would just kind of like say things sometimes about like, athletes or like other like Black men specifically. And it's just like, I think I know what you're here for. I don't like this. And just always, and honestly, the way she would treat other people, like she would also befriend people that I think she thought she could either take advantage of or get something from. So the
Mm-hmm.
people that she kept really close were the ones that she could really mold their minds. But it's like, we started to really butt heads after a while because I'm like speaking out. I'm like, no, this is not okay. This is not okay. But I don't know, that girl could get boyfriend after boyfriend, which leads me to my next point.
Mm-hmm.
They're narcissists, like Future.
Oh my God.
I think all of them, maybe not all, but most seem to also have the trait of narcissism.
No, you're right. I feel like, and jealousy. I feel like there's a lot of jealousy, or if you're doing something, oh my God. Listen, I had a friend who I don't want to say, you know what? It's so hard because
you can be
honest and vulnerable, but you're like, if I say some, everyone's going to know who you're talking about. So, okay. I had a friend who we were cool. Like I would consider, I don't want to say it. You know, I'm going to say it. So you all don't even know. It was a girl. It really wasn't, but I'm just going to lie. So anyway.
I was ready for the tea. I was like,
no, but anyway, we were really cool. And it got to a point where I got an internship. This was the first time I got an internship at a place, and I was like, "Ooh, I got an internship at Wood TVA." I'm so excited. And I posted that I got the internship, and I got like 200 likes. And he was upset by how many likes I got. And he said
he brought that up to you.
He cried and said, like, I wish that I could be myself, that I got the attention that you get. And I'm like, I'm not trying to get attention. I'm just trying to, live my dreams. Yeah. And so it was just like not the right reasons to be jealous. It's like you're jealous of like not like actually like I'm not motivating you or helping like inspire you, because I feel like friends, you help each other like motivate each other. That's not jealousy. That's not, that's not saying anything. That's not thinking that you're less than. It's just like, oh, well, they're stepping it up. You know what? I need to step my shit up too. And instead it was like he got likes. And it's like, what? Like this is what
you're mad about right now.
This is what you're mad about? Like, 200 likes? Oh, this is not
honestly, I'm like, then there was another friend. I had another friend, former friend, these are all former friends, but a similar situation when I got my first internship, and it was cool because it was for an LA, why am I acting like, oh my God, just hide it, like whatever.
I know, I was trying to fight it, but I was I'm just gonna say it.
Like, I loved interning at KTLA, so Channel 5 News in Los Angeles, and I was selected to be in their entertainment department, like reporting internship, and it was like supposed to be really hard to get into. I think, you you make good connections, whatever. Mm-hmm. I was so excited. Because I was telling everybody like, oh my gosh, because, this was also like my dream that I had. It took me 3 years in college to realize like, no, I really don't want to do the medical field. And like, I'm nearing the end of my college career. Like you need to figure out where you're going. So I was super excited to get into this program. And she was like my closest friend at the time, meaning honestly, she befriended me and like started to just hang out with me all the time and like latch on to me and be like, oh, are you going here? And I'd be like, I mean, I'm a nice person, so I'd be like, sure. And so I remember telling her, and she was just like, oh, that's cool. And I'm not exaggerating. It was like, oh, that's cool.
And you can feel it. Like,
yeah,
something that's toxic in your life, it just depends how you want to handle the situation. You can either take it for what it is and take the sign that they give you that they're toxic and keep it going and see if they change, or you can just be like, okay, that didn't feel right. What should we do? Should we talk about it? I think
there's only so much talking that can happen though, because I think some of them, this is them. I hate to say it, and maybe it'll take more work and it'll take them going through a lot of different failed relationships, as in, interpersonal relationships, be it friends, be it significant others. But I think it's going to take that, or maybe even seeing professionals to know that, you don't make really good friendships because you are manipulative and you're narcissistic. Like this same friend would center herself in anything that was going on. Anything that was happening. I could be throwing a party for friends, a general party. Somehow she's making some drama happen to center herself. And it's like, this isn't even like, I'm not the star of this party. No one is. Everyone's here just to have fun. And you're over here making drama and then running out of the room. And then she called me later and was like, why didn't you chase after me? I said, why am I going to do that? You're a grown woman. You can, handle yourself. She's like, I was drinking. That was your decision. I know. She's like, and I drove. I'm like, you did? That's a terrible decision. Like, but honestly, there's a point where it's like, if you run out and you're causing drama to center yourself, and then being like, why didn't you call me when I left? why did you let me drive? I was like, no, I didn't.
That's just attention seeking. That's not even like, hey, I just want to talk about what happened.
Yeah.
Because when you're drinking, things happen. Like, and that's just point blank period. When you're
The
drinking,
thing is, she
anything can
wasn't
happen,
even
but it's
really.
how you handle it afterwards, if that
She
makes
wasn't even
sense.
really drinking. It was like, are you a wannabe housewife? Like, what are you doing right now? Like, you weren't even. It was just another mode to keep trying to center herself, which was just awful. Ugh.
And I feel like now more than ever, being in quarantine, like we said, you're figuring out these toxic relationships, or you're figuring out who is right in your life. Because I think it's toxic too to have people who aren't for you. Maybe it's just a support. I feel like people that are toxic in your life just don't support what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you are a freaking actress and you have this film coming out and your friends haven't seen it, and you sent them the link 2 months ago and they haven't seen it, it's time to get new friends, baby.
Sometimes
If
people
you
really
are
don't
an
like to see
entertainment
you win.
journalist and your friends haven't seen your demo reel, and
They
they
don't like to.
if,
Sometimes people don't like to see you win. They really don't.
that's my point, is that you're going to have, if the people that do not want to see you succeed or do not have any interest in you succeeding, those people are not for you. And I think that's really important because you can feel it. Like, I can tell based on someone, like, I personally, I like someone that doesn't have a lot of friends, like a lot of best friends. Cause people just throw the word best friend. My
I
best
don't like
friend.
that. I don't like that.
No, I don't like that.
I don't like that.
I have a really, really small group of really close friends. And I have, like, of course, like, I have, like, my closest best friends I consider my brothers and sisters. And then I have, like, my best friends. And then, like, my friends, acquaintances, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but they, you know what I'm saying? But they know, everyone knows what they are with their friends. And so it's like, for me, I'm not going to try to be friends with someone that has 50 million best friends, because you're probably going to act different with certain people. And that's what I do not like. I hate it when people act different based on who they're with.
I don't like that either. I don't like that.
I don't
like that.
I don't like that.
It's awful. Well, so putting this into context, when do you think it's a good time to cut off toxic friendships?
Anytime.
Like how?
Anytime. There's no deadline.
As soon as you realize it.
Now, listen, I understand that there might be a toxic friend in your life that is your best friend, that they are there for you, whatever, but there is something that is just not right. I don't know if it's a jealousy thing, or maybe they're not doing much in their lives, or they're just complaining, trying to make you feel bad. I don't know what it is.
So what do you think about the toxic people coming back now? Like, that are coming back, trying to come back.
I always tell people, block people. There's nothing wrong with blocking people. Yeah, if people want to come back and text you, just leave it. Just you can be nice and say, "Oh, thank you so much for checking in." Next, or block them. I personally, if you do something messed up, I might block you.
Blocked?
Oh yeah, I'd block. If it depends how toxic. If they're like, if it's like crazy, because let me tell you something. There's people that are crazy. So it's like. It's based on that too. If they're really, really crazy or whatever, like your history.
Look, let me tell you something. I had friends who, one of the people I mentioned earlier, I remember at one point she cut her hair and dyed it black.
What?
It was like, everyone was like, I think she's trying to be you. I had friends say that. They're like, oh my gosh, I think this girl wants to be you. So like, what? No. And I was like, I don't know, but either way, I'm not trying to stick around to find out. Before it ends up.
Before you end up on like Obsessed or something. Or what's that roommate movie where she tries to steal the
single white female.
She was white too. But yeah, and I feel like now too, like, I really feel like some of these celebrities who are breaking up, because we're talking about toxic relationships. I mean, your partner goes along with that. And I feel like a lot of these celebrity relationships are actually ending because of their views of Black Lives Matter too. Because think about it. You're in quarantine with your man, right? And you find out he's all lives matter. It's time to get out. So that's why I feel like there's so
literally get out.
Get out. So it's like there's so many aspects in quarantine, because it's like quarantine's one thing, so you're getting to know the person, you're getting to know like their habits on a different level, because you guys aren't going to work, you guys are working from home together, you're doing everything at home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then you add Black Lives Matter movement on top of it, you really going to know if you're going to be with him or not.
Because seriously, quarantine has put people in a bubble where you really stop and think about everything that's going on around you, right? I mean, think about it. It really took an entire global pandemic for people to realize, you know, we've been treating Black people poorly, like in our workplaces. You know, when we see them on our day-to-day basis in our neighborhoods, we've been treating them poorly. Police have been treating them poorly. Like, we should really think about this. So if it takes a whole pandemic for people to examine that, you know, they're examining their relationships a little bit closer, like the things that are coming out of your close friends or your significant other's mouth. Ooh, and I know there are relationships that have gone their separate ways. Wasn't it Armie Hammer, I believe, recently, who split with his wife, and was it over? Okay, they didn't release what it was over, but I think the rumors were on Twitter was that it was over.
It was over the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah, it was that it was over Black Lives Matter. I said, ooh, Army's fine too.
Oh, Sade sneaking in. If you haven't listened to our dating episode, maybe you need to listen to it again because Sade is taking tips. Yeah, maybe you need to hit up the actor, Sade.
Hey, Army, call me by my name. Sade.
Call me by my name. But okay, so you said what makes people toxic. But how do you think people that are toxic, because we might have people that are toxic and not even realize it, that are listening, how can they fix it? My number one thing is to be more like empathetic and like listen to what people are saying that you're doing.
I think the first part is like, how do they even realize that they're toxic?
Right? Do toxic people
know? Like, how do you know? Do you have to kind of look at your track record and be like, dang, I don't have any of the same friends from last year or the year before that? Like, each year, are your friends changing?
Yeah.
I noticed that between toxic people, but I just wonder, how do you come to really realize that? I think it sucks that some of the responsibility probably has to fall on whatever friends you have now to bring it to your attention.
Yeah.
That's for that friend, because sometimes it's easier to split and be like, you know what, I don't need this, let me go. But then that toxic person continues. But it's not our job to take on that responsibility. Hopefully somebody will tell them, maybe a professional, because they're paying them.
Yeah. Sorry.
I just mean we shouldn't have to take on the responsibility.
Yeah. It's so hard because
it's hard.
It's really hard. And it's so hard just to fathom it. And it's so hard to, when a toxic friend hits you up, it's just like, not even a friend, a person maybe that you dated or something. It's just like, why is he texting me? And like the first thing you do is you take that screenshot and you send it to your best friend. It's like, girl, he hit me up. You know what I'm saying? We've all been there. And it's like, girl, he hit me up. What do I do? What do I say? And it's like, sometimes you know the person. If you guys have a bad history where it's like it's really, really bad, don't reply. Just don't reply. But if it's just like you guys are ended things on a civil note, you know, maybe it wasn't as bad as you thought, and it's just like, oh, keep it cute, short and cute. Keep it cute.
Keep it cute.
Send a little, oh, thank you so much. I hope you're doing well too. End it at there. You don't have to respond back. You did your part. But,
yeah. So I think again that goes back to kind of your original question. Like, they need to realize, you know, if you keep getting blocked, there might be something wrong with you.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with the way that you're processing. And I think if you start having those conversations with friends, like they're bringing up instances where it seems like you're toxic, listen, which I don't know, that's probably hard because a lot of them seem narcissistic, but that's all I can really think of.
I think too, when you have real friends around you, you know what's good for you, you know what you deserve, and it's just like,
I feel like it also
you know what you're not going to deal with. You know what you're not going to put up with.
And I also feel like when you're with real friends, it actually feels effortless. Just like how, you know, in the beginning with relationships, when it feels all fun and fine and like everything feels effortless. And if it continues that way, yeah, there are bumps that can happen here and there. But if you're able to talk about it and like keep moving past, then I think that's a good sign of like friendship or relationship.
What do you do if there's someone that's toxic? Or like, you know, that you realize that they don't really have that many friends. It's like they don't have a best friend that they can talk to about certain things. They don't have like that one best friend for them. Is that a sign that they don't have like a close friend? Or could they just be to themselves?
I don't know. I think there's other things you do have to consider then, because some people are naturally shy. Some people do keep smaller circles, and I'm totally with that. I think as, you know, I'm going through life more, I prefer the smaller circles. But at the same time, I think if, you know, they have a new friend every few weeks, a new, you know, a solo best friend, or this, you know, a new two friends every, you know, time period, could it be a year or a few months? That's, to me, is a sign of somebody who's toxic. Especially, I think, if you don't get to know sometimes maybe a lot about like their background, if that makes sense. Like, they don't talk to you enough about other friends, or if everything they talk about when it comes to their other friends is how their other friends were always just trash and it's like always new, I think that might be a sign.
You know what? My good friends, it's so crazy because we always keep each other accountable. So if like I do something that's messed up, my best friend Sierra, she's like, Blair, what are you doing? And vice versa. And I mean, it's nothing that crazy, but it's usually like if we're just like gossiping or something, she's like, oh, you shouldn't say that. I say the same thing to her. You know what I'm saying? We just keep each other accountable. And that's how you know, because it's like, I know how she is. She's like that with her other friends too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And for me, I have best friends that are still in Michigan that I don't have to talk to every day. That's how you know that you have good best friends. You know what I'm saying? But this is really hard. In a relationship, being stuck in quarantine, how do you handle a toxic person?
I am not in that situation, so
you know what I'm saying? But there's like toxic.
Yeah, when you really think about it, like, so, I don't know. I would imagine. I think that there are probably a lot of conversations. Either it's silence, like, like we're not speaking to each other type vibe, or there are, if they're mature enough, a lot of conversations. Or a lot of arguments. And I think it depends on the stage of like, are we trying to work on this? No, you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me either. Or like, I'm always right. I think it depends on the level of this road they're on. The
toxic relationships in your life can just be so expanded and it's just out of control. But then again, it's like, well, at least we're not in an entanglement. You know what I'm saying? Because that's toxic. What Will and Jade and August are going through, that's toxic.
And I think that's the entanglements that situation is something else. And I think if we want to get into it just a little bit,
we can get into it a little bit. It's toxic.
Okay, it's toxic.
Really.
And this is where, from my understanding, based off of everything we heard, I feel like Will and Jada, they had their communication about what was happening, and then Jada had her communication with August, but I feel like whatever she spoke with him about, it wasn't like the same sort of conversation she had with Will, because she and Will knew, like, okay, well, Jada and Will knew that they were like, okay, we're taking this time separated, right? We're probably gonna, maybe we'll come back together, blah, blah, blah. I feel like they had that conversation, but I feel like when this relationship started with August, did he know all of that? Like, they're going to continue.
Yeah.
So I feel like whatever was going on there, I feel like he probably didn't get a full, conversation about what could really happen and develop if he gets feeling that. That's just my interpretation. That's no blame at all on Jada, because again, she was saying that she was feeling all sorts of ways, right? So maybe she didn't even know that she would get that caught up either. But I just feel like there needed to maybe be a conversation that was more thorough between Jada and August, because it seems like he's making songs, like he's speaking out about it, like in interviews. The boy is hurt. He is hurt.
Girl, let me tell you something about this entanglement. I have a couple opinions. And
I love opinions. Lay them on me. Lay them on me.
First of all, this relationship, this three-way, whatever you want to call it, this throuple. First of all, I want to say that something isn't right to begin with. There was this part of the interview with Jada and Will that just, it tipped me off that they're lying. You want to know what it was?
I feel like I know, but go ahead.
When, mind you, August said that Will gave him his blessing. Okay, that was never discussed between Will and Jada.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So if Will and Jada supposedly broke up, why would August need to talk to Will? Have you thought about it like that? And I'm like, wait, no, he's not they're not answering the question about, August said that he had Will's permission, and I believe August, because what does August have to lose?
The boy
exactly.
He's bleeding his heart out in front of everybody right now.
Yeah, and I don't think he was hurt after it happened. I think, his heart was broken and whatever, but I think as time went on, he felt, it is what it is. But then he said his truth, and then Jada first of all, she made a statement saying it wasn't true. And then during the red table talk with Will, she said that she didn't even give a statement.
Her team was like, it's not true, this and that. But then now we're bringing it to the table.
Yes.
Now we're bringing it to the table. Also, did you see the hurt?
Yeah. But 1 second. Based on August's song, he said that Jada was kind of trying to get Will back. So I believe that maybe they were both probably having open relationships or whatever, but maybe there was one that Jada didn't approve of. I don't know. But I think that they're in an open relationship 100% now, based on that one part, because it doesn't make sense.
And I mean, that rumor has always been around that they have an open relationship.
And I was that dumb bitch that believed that they weren't.
And
I was.
I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I can see it, which is terrible to say, but I can see it.
I was like, no, they're not.
I know. I was like, I don't know, but I could see it. However, when this came out, I was like, you know what? It seems plausible. And I think that they were both doing their thing. And that's where it comes in, where I said, like, I feel like they had to talk about we're open. Mm-hmm. But, August got in deep. And I don't know if he knew that was going to happen for him. And did he know Jay is always going to be with Will at the end of the day? Or, you know what I mean? So
we need to get someone that's in an open relationship on the show.
Yeah, we if you are one of those people, please contact us. We would love to speak with you.
I have so many questions.
Because I feel like there has to be some sort of rules or common ground for everyone involved for it to not become toxic.
The same girl. Oh God, I swear to God, I would never sing an R. Kelly song, but that didn't count. That's Usher. We're gonna say that's an Usher song. But then it's like that's a toxic relationship. But then if you think about it, have you seen? Oh, girl.
I want to bring up one more thing.
Fatal Affair.
Huh?
Fatal Affair on Netflix.
Oh,
that toxic.
Yes, but I was gonna bring up something else. But I was like, but did you see also like between laughing, Will's resting sad face? He was like.
Because Will, I'm sure Jada didn't want to do it, and Will was like, no, we need to do it.
Yeah, and he's like.
But I'm sure Will did the same thing, but he just didn't get caught. Like,
whoever. I feel like maybe he just didn't get at wherever, how deep. Maybe he never caught feelings like that. And maybe because seeing all of a sudden that Jada did, it was like, oh, how, because this is what happens. Sometimes guys are like, yeah, let's take a break. And then all of a sudden, they're like, oh, who are you with? Or like, if you move on to someone else, all of a sudden they're like, wait, I want to talk to you now. So it's like, almost like, oh, I didn't know you were going to actually find something serious.
Yeah.
Like,
to be honest, all I know is that for this to all be coming out, Jada was getting dicked down. Okay, because the fact that it's this big, no pun intended, August. Sorry. But the fact that it's become this big is ridiculous.
Like everybody's talking about it. Oh goodness.
Girl, I'm like, August is just.
Element is like the new word of 2020 right now. Everybody's talking about it.
I hate that word now.
I can't
even watch the Disney film Entangled the same.
I watched a sermon last week, and
not a sermon.
No, not a like.
I don't go from that to a sermon. Okay, go girl.
Just an actual church service. Okay, a service.
Okay.
I was watching an actual church service last week, Transformation Church with Pastor Todd. I watched last week, and
shout out to Pastor Todd.
Shout out to Pastor Todd, Transformation Church.
Oh my God, what is happening?
But he mentioned entanglement both times, and I was cracking up.
He did that on purpose.
Because he knew. He was like,
he's black.
I guess what the kids are calling it today, what the culture is calling it today, entanglements.
Is he black?
Yes.
Yeah, we knew that.
He's incredible. I feel like he breaks down the service for it to be much more relatable.
Clearly.
And, yeah, you should tune into him. I enjoy his service.
What's his name?
Pastor Todd. Is that Transformation Church?
I'm trying to find a new church because I was dealing with a toxic church. It was toxic, girl. They were against the gays. I'm not going to say their name because I'm not trying to get sued.
Oh my gosh. Wait, were they trying? Okay.
All I can tell you is that it's on the corner of La Brea and Hollywood. I'm going to hell. Next guys. No, for real.
Next caller.
But I did get baptized there, and my relationship with Jesus expanded. And then I was like, you know what? Jesus would not want me here. All these rumors going around that they're making gay people sit in the back that are serving for them and they're not allowed to be pastors. Ooh, I can't be here. Allegedly.
So yeah, tune into Transformation Church, and I think it's incredible. It's a great service. It really breaks it down. Like the sermon today was literally called "Sex is Good."
Ooh.
Your face.
It's relatable to this conversation.
Yeah, but he was like, you know why it's good? Because God made it. And he said, the secular world makes us think it's bad, it's dirty. He's like, no, it's not.
Mm-mm.
He's like, God made
I like your pastor. He's realistic.
Like, God made it good. I know. I used to listen to another service from another church that I used to actually physically go to, but I've really been searching for one that I think I could relate to more. The one I used to go to and then watched was a family church. So sometimes I felt like, I'm a single millennial and they're either trying to talk to the high school students like, don't have sex and blah, blah. And then the adults, they're like, in your marriage, you're cheating this and that. And I'm like, what about the people in the middle that are just trying to, get to the marriage point? So I think
you try to find someone who's like waiting to have sex till marriage. That'd be a good show too. Yes.
Let's get that all together.
Sorry, I'm just like, these are giving me ideas.
Giving me inspiration. That's so funny that you mentioned toxic church.
It was toxic. We had a toxic relationship. Not with me personally, but stories I heard.
Yeah, Fatal Affair. I know you were getting into it.
Yes, I was going to say that whole toxic relationship in that film with Nia Long and Omar Epps, who, you know what? You always think like, Nia Long, she definitely, auditioned for Scandal. She did. She's one of those actresses. She probably auditioned to play Cookie.
You heard about the Charlie's Angels
on Empire. But Nia Long, in this film, I don't know what to say. I was very disappointed.
there were just moments where I was like, oh. But then at the same time, I don't know. There's a whole team. There's a whole director who's choosing the takes. Let
me show you this part. Did you see the driver's license of Omar Epps' character? Did you see the? No one caught it. I had to screenshot it because when I saw.
I was looking at it. I was wait.
Who in the DMV would even allow that?
He's all. Like side profile glare.
That was just pure laziness. The fact that they just
there's been lazier.
They took a screenshot from the film that they made, put it on the license, the driver's license, and had the nerve to show it.
There's been lazier done. We know that. Hello, do you remember? Tyler Perry was going through it with what was it called? What was the movie? Why am I forgetting?
Oh, the black lady who's with the young man who took all her money. What was that movie called?
I know. Why am I forgetting?
With Rashida. What's her name from Cosby Show?
Felicia? I don't know why it's like
Rashad. Felicia Rashad. Is her name Felicia Rashad?
Felicia Rashad. Yeah.
I love her.
But the movie where they had someone call and they left the whole screenshot that was supposed to make it look like it was someone was receiving a call.
Oh yeah. You know what? I've had it. These toxic ass movies.
But what's funny? These movies, yes, they are toxic, but you know what? They're so fun to watch when you are not part of it, which is sad to say.
I just was so confused why it's not on Lifetime.
They keep making it over and over and over. These stalker toxic stories are made over and over and over, and we're always still watching it. It is number 2 on Netflix right now.
Why did they jump into it so quick, like the beginning of it? And we should have warned them that if you're going to listen to this, we're going to have to put a disclaimer on our bio saying, if you do not listen if you haven't seen this movie yet, or if spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert right now.
Like they started it so early with the affair, and it's not even really enough. Like it was just
I know.
And he was already obsessed with her right away. That was why it was so crazy. It was like he was like subtly becoming obsessed with her. It was like, where are you going? Your husband does this? Yeah. It was like, girl, there were so many signs, and I feel like
into it quickly, women, which I feel like could have made more sense if they maybe would have given us more of a story behind it, and like maybe she talked more with her husband about it. So just, I don't know, something to show that like, okay, this was, this betrayal meant so much more, and he didn't even know until way later. Like I feel like. Because they didn't even really have an affair. Like, it could be seen, it's definitely
It wasn't
considered.
a fair, but it wasn't like a sexual. It was just like they were drunk. She really was just drunk.
Also, can we talk about how her friend is ready to trust this man she met? What? As far as I can
Talk
tell,
about how Courtney didn't deserve to live. She was talking about toxic relationships. Courtney was the definition of a toxic relationship because whether or not that man came in their life, it showed Courtney's true colors.
I was thinking the same thing.
Guy comes in and you're gonna believe him.
You're ready to throw your friend under the bus. Your friend that you've known forever.
Have sex with him,
and you could. I'm sorry, and she was really blind because hello, he gave you lingerie that doesn't have tags on it. Where'd he get this from?
And it probably really wouldn't have fit her because like Nia Long's like really short.
That too. That too.
Like this doesn't make no sense. There were so many things that just did not make sense for me.
There were a lot of things. Also, is it me or was that shot in the same house as Big Little Lies?
It was. Me and my boyfriend were talking.
And from the beginning, from the first shot, before they even showed the house, they showed the drive over the bridge, and I'm like, Monterey Bay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
My God. We were. You know what my boyfriend said? We're watching it, and he has that Puerto Rican accent, so it makes when he says things, it's just like even more funny. He was like, no, if we're gonna talk about entanglement, this is entanglement, and I'm like, on the floor dying. I'm like, yes, babe, this is an entanglement.
This is an entanglement. It's bad. I was actually giggling throughout the entire movie because
it was a comedy.
The audacity that he had and how it kept escalating so quickly.
The audacity that it had, the potential that it had,
everything he was just like so much, and like it was. What? I'm like laughing thinking about it. Like, oh yeah, she's outside her new job,
right?
Hey Ellie, sir.
What? And why did he have to be a mad scientist too? Why did he have the whole Dexter's laboratory in his closet? That didn't make no sense to me.
But don't you think it was weird that he just told her right away, you know what, I already knew that you worked there. Sorry. I just really thought it'd be fun that if we worked together. And she's like, it's okay.
I know. I'm like, Nia Long, bitch.
And also, a lot of it could have been avoided if she just told her husband. That was the last thing she did was tell her husband about it. As soon as he started getting dangerous, tell your husband. Honestly, you should tell him before that. But you waited till it got extremely.
Her husband ain't shit. Her husband couldn't fight.
I'm sorry.
Her husband couldn't fight. Her husband.
He was just tied up.
Blew me up when they were tied. When their hands and legs were tied at the end of the bed.
I know.
You know this grown ass man tied you like that?
I was upset about that. I was so mad.
He hog tied them, bro.
I was upset about that. When I saw him tied, I said he really couldn't. But you know, they tried to make up for it by showing that, you know, he had a back. Remember, they tried to tell us he had a bad back, and his whole, you know, was it left or right side, whatever, had to be in a cast for 6 months. They were trying to set it up to show us that he has a weakness right now, and he has to take all these pills. But I still wasn't buying it.
I wasn't buying it.
All that happened, and you're telling me, how is it that those two are hogtied and then Scott is out on the deck?
I have another question.
And little girl didn't know?
Remember? Okay.
Why does she look like she's 12? What's wrong with her hair? She's been wearing that same style the entire time. Also, whose kid is this?
Wait, my part was the golf course because she was randomly driving a golf cart past. Like he couldn't.
Wait, was that supposed to be her or no? What? I was wondering if they were implying that was her, or was he looking over her shoulder to be like, oh, that golf cart is driving away, so I can use this moment.
Oh, maybe it was. I thought it was her.
That's like hit over the head.
Nah. She gonna like this is so like obvious. It was
also, I thought it was ridiculous that she's scared of him, but she's about to go up in his house. Also, here's another thing that was bugging me from Jump Street, from the beginning, before when they showed the initial couple, Deborah and Travis. When she's walking around trying to figure out where Travis is, and you know she's a little spooked, but trying to think like, oh, it's sexy. Like, why are you not turning on the lights? Let me walk through my entire house without turning on the lights. Throughout this entire film, everybody walks through every part of their house or room or place of work without turning on the lights. Mm-hmm. No human does that.
No one does that. You're right. Well, you guys.
Now that we've gone off.
Yeah.
On
guys, let us know.
Toxic churches, toxic people, friends.
Yeah. Shit, are we toxic? I'm just playing. You guys, thank you so much for listening to Over the BS. We are over the bullshit, okay? We're just calling everything out. Let us know what topics you want to hear us talk about. And also, if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, please follow or subscribe. When you go look up our podcast on the homepage of our podcast, it'll say follow or subscribe. I know it says follow on Spotify for sure. And please, on Spotify, not Spotify. I don't think you can leave it on Spotify, but on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and a review. Like, please just don't star us. Actually, write something. And say,
write what you like. Let us know. We are excited to have you guys as fans, and we want to know, what are we doing right? What do you guys love? So we can just keep it going.
And what you guys want us to change, you can still give us a good review and say, Blair, shut the hell up a little bit more. And it's okay. I'm not going to take offense to it. I'm going to be like, okay, I'll shut the hell up then.
Okay, then.
Angela. Also, I want to say shout out to the new countries that are listening, because we have Israel,
United Kingdom
and Canada
in the house. What up? We are so excited to shout you guys out. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your support. Also, if you are in an open relationship, if you know someone who is might want to appear on our show, you can email overthebsshow@gmail.com. Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.